the steal, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep.
Regulators, mount up. It was a...
Yeah, I got the classy instrumental hip-hop beat for you folks.
And don't forget, you can text On Edge to 33239. That's On Edge to 33239 to become an Edge Insider.
Oh, geez, what does that mean?
So you can sign up to be an Edge Insider. You'll get concert information, updates on new music and artists, and Edge Station news. And not
they don't
all,
by any chance give out free tickets to concerts, do they?
You might have contests and more.
Yeah, it's I'm sure they would give out tickets and stuff.
At theedgeonair.com.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't forget to visit theedgeonair.com, of course. And not all cell carriers participate in texting campaigns. Standard texting rates may apply. You've heard that stuff before.
Yeah.
And for more information, visit theedgeonair.com.
Yeah, there you go. We said it at the same time. That was cute. .com. All right, now, I want to get your take on this before we get to Risky's rant on the Anthony Rizzo controversy.
No, there's no Anthony Rizzo
Risky's rant on Rizzo.
Risky's rant on Rizzo.
Rizzo.
Go Rizzo.
Vote Rizzo.
Oh,
even though voting already closed. And
Yeah,
if he doesn't make it, I'm going to be furious.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He's got to beat out
He
Morneau.
deserved that. The only thing I was worried about with him losing out to Morneau is that it's in Minnesota, and that's where Morneau's played pretty much his whole
I feel like
career.
that's why Morneau was in second place to begin with, because Morneau should not be in second. If anything, Anthony Rendon should be the one in second place.
And one thing that pissed me off was the White Sox Twitter account, or the White Sox pages forever, they were trying to get Rendon in.
Yeah, and
or
then
the Cubs were trying to get Sale in.
Right,
that
but
is so unprofessional. I'm so tempted to send them a tweet telling them how unprofessional they are.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment that the Cubs are trying to get their guy in, and they're just trying to get a random guy in so Rizzo doesn't. Like, come on.
Get the hell out of here, White Sox.
Seriously,
you're
it's so
trash.
unprofessional. This is why you have one of the worst GMs in the league. And
And why you have one of the worst fan bases that no one gives two craps about. Even when you're contenders, no one cares.
Oh, yeah, I remember 2 years ago they were in first place for 117 games, and then they could only get 15 people out at the games. Seriously, your fans aren't even loyal.
Yeah.
All right, so what did you have to say, Hoppy, about your little excursion last night?
Well, it's not really an excursion. I have two things. So last night, me and my friend, we just were walking around. He was shooting hoops at the park, and we parked on the side street because it was really busy by the park. And we walked, and we hear this loud, like, clinging noise, like it sounded like plates were being crushed, and you just hear screaming. You hear kids screaming. You hear parents screaming. There's madness. It's at like 10:30 at night. The lights at the house were completely lit, dude. Every room was completely lit. The shades were open and everything. Like, you could see inside the house.
Yeah.
And they're screaming. So we're like, what should we do? So we just went to the park hoping it went away. We come back 45 minutes later. The cars haven't left at all because there was like 3 cars in the driveway. The house completely as it was. It was completely lit. The front door was open, but nobody was in there. Should I have called the cops? Because it was weird, dude. It was some loud domestic violence.
I don't know. I'm glad you just sort of left it alone and just forgot about it. But I mean, it's kind of. I mean, obviously that's kind of strange.
There was just so much screaming and people running back and forth. Because, like I said, the window was open. You could see it. I wasn't peeking in. I just saw from afar. It was absolute madness. And I want you to call the show. 630-785-2510. Am I the bad guy for not calling the cops? Should I have called the cops? I just wasn't sure. I was like, I almost called when I came home because it was 11:30 at night. The windows are completely open. The door's open. The lights are on, but no one's in there. And you see one kid just walk across. Like, what the hell?
It's done. I killed them all.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I know that's an obscure thing to think about, but I first thought about the Cleveland kidnapping and Charles Ramsey that got Amanda Berry and Michelle DeJesus out in Cleveland last May.
I'm surprised that you know their names. Like, I had no clue what their names were.
But I'm just surprised that, or I was just wondering, should I have called the cops? Because, what if I was the next Charles Ramsey? Up-and-coming talk show host saves girls' lives. Yeah.
Well, let's just assume it wouldn't have happened, because if it would have done, that would have been a problem.
He likes Anthony Cumia. Enough of him. Here's the second thing that happened within the last week. So, we live in a rich neighborhood. My house, by any means, is not a shack. It's not small. It's a ranch house. And our house used to be nice because all the other houses around us were the same as ours. But all those people died off or they expanded. I'm not kidding.
They all died off.
I'm not kidding.
Does it feel like your house is out of place?
Did your neighborhood have like a plague that like went through it and then like all the people died?
It's called the Hoppe plague. It just struck across Arlington Heights. Just me being there makes everyone sick. Sort of like at school.
Exactly.
So my mom, well, first with the house. Let me get back to the point. With the house, it's a nice house. It's a nice ranch house, but there's like big houses next to it, like second-story mansions. So my house looks so small compared to it. And all these rich neighbors. My mom's a nice person, so is my dad. You go over, you bring them brownies, welcome to the neighborhood. These neighbors never embraced us. They're rich douchebags. They don't care. One of the guys that lives next door to us owns his own chain of dry cleaners. If we have a CEO on a block, a doctor, a lawyer, they don't care about us. They're all cocky people with their hot wives and their good-looking kids, you know what I mean? It's just like a good-looking family, you know what I mean? Like, no one's ugly in these families. They all drive Porsches.
No, I get what you're saying.
And my mom's a hard-working nurse. She's a home nurse, so she has to go to Elgin by 6 a.m. So that means she gets up at like 5 a.m. and leaves at 5:30. And now, when you get up in the morning, you're not always completely prepared. I mean, hell, I'm late to school because I always forget things. I have to go back and get it real quick. My mom, imagine doing that at 5 in the morning. I get up at like 8:30 and I'm here by like 9:45.
What time does school start?
9:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, it starts whenever you walk in. It doesn't matter.
But here's what happened. So my mom leaves the house at like 5:30, right? And now, when you're late for work, you're not going to exactly be going slow. You know what I mean? You're going to try and get there. So my mom, I'm not saying by any means she's a bad woman driver, but she likes to drive fast. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, she drives fast when she goes to work. She might go 40 down the street. This is at like 5 to 7 a.m. in the morning. Depends on what time she gets up.
Yeah, not a whole lot of people are out then. That's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, there's no kids playing soccer in the middle of the street. And if they are, those rich parents are atrocious, awful parents. If you're letting their kids just play soccer at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I come home on Thursday night. Me and Risky have the best show ever. I'm pumped up. And my mom's angry. She's like, Ryan, we need to go for a walk. I'm like, all right. I mean, we go for walks or whatever. But she goes for a walk, and she tells me that the day that she sped off, a cop came to my front door last Thursday and said, is Diana Hoppe home? And now my mom, by any means, she's never been arrested. She'll get speeding tickets, but she is a good person. Those piece of dirt next door neighbors, those douchebags who make more money than us, those people who throw parties but never look at us in the eye when we drive by and wave at them, are the same people who couldn't walk 5 feet next door to address that my mom was speeding. No, they hid behind a telephone, just like how we all hide behind technology now in 2014. We don't actually talk to our neighbors. We don't have any relationship with our neighbors. We're too antisocial as Americans, as weirdos in 2014. They didn't go over and say to my mom, hey, could you stop speeding so fast? I don't want my kids to
How does it affect them? Why do they care?
No one's up.
Is it affecting them? No.
No one's up at 7 in the morning.
Your mom has like a huge engine that's like heard and like waking everyone up.
And not just that, Risky. I like that point. It's not like her car's waking people up. It's a 2011 Honda. It's a decent car. And not just that. Here's what's sickening. I would get if you keep coming back. Please, Diana, could you slow down? It's annoying. It's waking up the kids. And you do it countless times, and my mom keeps driving reckless. But this was one time, and my mom was not aware. And for this blonde next-door neighbor, this rich woman, to actually call the cops on us, a hardworking family, you're a piece of dirt. I'm serious. If I was on uncensored radio, I'd be saying worse. But really, you're going to call the cops on us, even though we've been nice to you and we gave you brownies when you first moved in, but you're going to call the cops on my mom who's going to work at 5 a.m. when you're a stay-at-home mom and your husband brings in all the money as he owns dry cleaners? Does that not make any sense to you? You probably
Why is she up at 5 a.m.?
Well, because she has to be in Elgin by 6 a.m.
No, the neighbor.
The neighbor.
What's the neighbor
jogging.
doing?
She's jogging.
Oh, yeah.
She has no problems in the world. She's living a carefree life, clean her kids' diapers and go jogging. It's not that hard to work and watch Katie Couric at 3 p.m. You have nothing to worry about.
Can't miss that show.
Show's terrible. But I'm just saying, like, how atrocious is that? That you don't even walk next door. We've never had any problems at the house. I've never had drinking parties. My mom's never had a DUI. Nothing that would provoke calling the cops. How ridiculous is that? That you're too lazy to walk over and just be a neighbor. No, you're going to call the cops and get the cops.
Who does that? Like, you have crazy and just
rich,
awful,
out of
awful
touch, terrible neighbor.
Yeah, I would say.
What happened in the aftermath after they called the cops?
I guess they called my mom at work, and my mom didn't even acknowledge it. She's like, okay, officer, I understand.
She didn't get like a ticket or anything, did she?
No, they just told her to slow down, and she didn't even address it. She just ignored like it didn't happen.
Yeah, well,
She
that's how
should've.
you got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, see, the neighbors could have just made it up. Let's say she wasn't even speeding; they could have just made it up.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing's sickening, Risky. Like, you can't walk over to talk to us. Like, you're that antisocial and out of touch. You're so much more supremacist than us. You're so much better than us.
Because your family
Stop
doesn't own
it.
dry cleaners. It's because you guys don't own dry cleaners. They
Hoppy
can't
cleaners.
address you.
Sorry, my mom actually works harder in one day than you've ever worked in your life. When you married the CEO of dry cleaners, you don't really do much. Sorry. Whatever. And this mom, like, hires nannies to come over. I'm not judging her, but, like, obviously she's living the good life. She has nannies deal with everything.
Oh, yeah.
You got it easy, honey. Oh, my goodness. I'm getting angry.
Coming up, the Hoppe and SuperRICH.
All right, we will get to that Rizzo. Or did we already rant about it? Or was there any more?
No. Oh, no, we didn't even get to the good part.
All right, we will
Yeah,
get
we'll
to
talk
that.
about that when we come back.
Preview it for us, Risky.
Well, Aroldis Chapman was intentionally throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs at multiple times at Cub players' heads.
Yeah.
And Anthony Rizzo had some words for that after Chapman smirked after every pitch.
Chapman sure sounds like a class act. Call the show if you saw it live and you want to recap it as well. 630-785-2510. That's 630-785-2510. And remember, you can check out our show on demand and the rest of the talented hosts on theedgeonair.com at theedgeonair.com/podcast. It's that easy. And we're on TuneIn, Stitcher, iTunes, and Spreaker, the mobile apps under Hoppe Radio. We will be right back on the Hoppe and SuperRICH show with Risky after this on The Edge. Hang on.
The Hoppe and SuperRICH Show.